Race number 7 is our feature race on Saturday. It's the Chinese Recreation Club Challenge Cup 1,000-metre dash here, Class 2, headed by Archipus. Fresh up, he's come up with Barrier 1 and Zach Burton. My little friend, a 4-time course and distance winner. Speed from adventurer Pavlovsky, Barrier 14s. He tries it for the first time, the 1,000-metre dash. Mega Red, course and distance, first time for him, but he's come up with a good draw. Bullish Smart goes up in class. He goes down in trip. Premier, also up in class, Barrier 12 and Dukedom. Another one trying the 1,000 metres for the first time.
Well, there's a number of speedy horses in this race, Andrew, but none speedier than Adventurer and Premier, and I think these two will dictate the terms. I'm hoping they won't cut each other to ribbons, but they will race side by side and they'll have the wood on everything else in the early stages. And I get the feeling it might be difficult for some of the horses behind them to actually close in, because they're both very strong horses over 1,000.
Yeah, and I'm going to concentrate on those two because I think they're the two main chances, track work-wise. We'll show all their work. So here's Adventurer. Jack Wong's aboard, leading in, nice and quiet piece of work for him. But this is how he generally does it. He doesn't really do any major speed in the morning. He'll save that for trials and race day. And he's working here with Tourbillon King, and you can even see Tourbillon King, who is a straight 1,000-metre horse himself, actually just edge away a little bit, and he's just not pushed at all, Adventurer. So nice two quiet pieces of work for him. Premier, reasonably similar here, not a quick time at all. He's a nice, strong, big, strong horse, of course, champion Griffin from last year. Never won down the straight 1,000 though, and here he is here in his first piece, and his second piece here as well, which is quite a similar piece with a similar time, so it's like deja vu almost. But this is another one how he generally works, and a lot of John-sized horses, they do all their talking on the racetrack.
Yeah, still looking for his first win of the season, though, John. We made our way back to the touchscreen, though, to have a look at this race, and a few key races we're going to have a look at too. Starting off with a race here down the straight, and we've got a whole host, and 6 of them in actual fact to focus on. We'll start at the front here. We've got Premier on the rail. You mentioned he hasn't won yet, Paul, but good form down the straight. We're going to end up with something like the Olympic Rings. I think we'll keep going here. We've got Flying Tourbillon, Happy Meteor just in behind as well, and the two that run into a little bit of trouble, Archipus back here, and My Little Friend as well.
It's a good race to show with all these horses in there, isn't it? And you see the Olympic rings here, you're a bit of a synchronised swimmer, I know, Andrew. And you can see here with Adventurer did lead Premier on this occasion, and I think he'll lead him again. Premier stuck in behind, and you know, they were quite clear. I mean, they did get run down late in this particular race by a couple of really good horses, but it's the old adage. You got your young horse coming through versus the seasoned companion.
In this race here, they sort of were at each other a little bit. You could see Adventurer wanted to get to the outside rail, and Premier wanted to try and hold him out. They had their own little battle through the first 500 metres. It was detrimental to Premier because he drops off. Adventurer's still there. I get the feeling that, you know, the two jockeys will be aware that if they try and do that again, it could be detrimental to both of them. I think one will either let the other go, and it may be Adventurer who leads Premier, and they'll just be happy to sit quiet. And with that in mind, I think they might be able to dictate it out in front.
All right, OK, we'll take a bit of all-weather form of note here. Pavlovsky out in front, or closest to the ones we've got. Mega Red, the ultimate winner here, just tucked in behind. Fight Hero, we know he closes quite strongly. And the other one, once more, it's Archipus. Not his best effort on this occasion. Didn't really seem to finish off the race.
Yeah, bar Archipus, these are dirt horses, though. They're seasoned dirt horses, and they race against each other here. And I think under turf conditions, the other two will have the wood on them.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is it's a horses for courses scenario. Pavlovsky's a better horse on the dirt. Mega Red shown he's a better horse on the dirt. Archipus has got some versatility.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
He can run on the dirt. He's also got a reasonable record over the straight 1,000, but he's going to give away that little bit of a start. So, you know, there's a couple of little crosses next to some of their names for me.
All right, OK. And we're going to have a look at now another trial. This is Premier. I think we've seen this already a couple of times this year. But there's Premier out in front. Happy Meteor once more. He's trucking along. Obviously, the conditions were pretty ordinary on this occasion. Momentum Lucky's in here as well, in between the two of them. And the interesting one for me is Archipus, right here out wide. He's been there the whole way as well. Look how much extra ground he's covered, and he's done that the whole way round, and he still crosses the line hard held.
Yeah, it was a good run. A good trial, I should say, from Archipus. And Premier did it nice and easy out in front. I thought Momentum Lucky went OK, and he's gone well fresh down the straight 1,000.
Yeah, you found him last season when they put him over the straight 1,000. He'll be parked in behind the speed. Happy Meteor will likely try and stay with Premier and also Adventurer through the initial stages. He's had one win over the Straight Thousand from 8 starts, but he's never been in the top 4 in the class. So he'll try and stick with them, but I think the quality will get to him in the end, and he'll be better suited when he goes onto the dirt too, I would have thought.
All right, and what about this horse here in, I was going to call him Archives, that was his old name, Lean Ambassador. Just lightly raced as far as Hong Kong is concerned. Do we expect an improved performance for him first up?
I'm happy to watch him go around. He only had the start last season, so I'm just happy to watch him, to be honest.
He's had a good prep. He's had a couple of trials leading in. I don't mind him as a mover, but like Paul, I just think the Straight Thousand might be a little sharp for him initially, but he's a horse I'll be keeping an eye on this season. I wouldn't be surprised to see him make some headway late, but I'll be looking more at him more 12-1400 with a run or two under the belt.
Difficult for horses like him coming in off a high rating. Had good form in Australia, but hard in this sort of company.
Absolutely. I think this is a good place for him to start, and anything he does there on Saturday will be a bonus.
All right, OK. Well, one horse possibly to take into consideration is Country Melody, and his jockey is Brett Prebble.
Brett, you rode Country Melody at Happy Valley first up. What did you think of the run?
He ran good. He hit the line strong. He trialled quite okay going into it, leading up to it, and I thought he sort of took his trial to the race and hit the line. He's very honest. He seems like he's been around a long time. He's only 6-year-old, you know, but Frankie's got him, and I think he's in good form.
His recent wins have all been at Happy Valley, but he has one down the straight before. Any concerns going from the valley to the straight track here?
Yeah, the only concern with it is maybe if the track's a bit firmer. You know, I think he appreciates Happy Valley, a bit of giveness there, but the track's not too firm. That's my only doubt.
What did you think of the race overall? Who were the main chances, did you feel, the ones to beat?
Well, I don't think it's an over-strong race. So I think if he brings that run from Happy Valley first up, I think he'll be ultra-competitive in it.
Good second-up record, good course and distance record as well.
He's won 3 times down the straight 1,000. He's still well rated. He's won off 92. He's 89, and it was a good run for the stable debut. So I've snuck him in.
Yeah, I don't have him in the tips, but I do respect him. I've got him ahead of a number of others.
All right. Looks like it's one of these sort of races again, Paul. You could be making an argument for a number of these, but who are you making one for?
Well, I'm going to narrow it down to 2. So I've narrowed it down to Adventurer and Premier. I put Adventurer on top because Premier hasn't won down the straight 1,000. He's had 5 goes at it as well. So Adventurer does, and he likes it, and we know he likes it. So I think he'll get the better of Premier, but Premier will be chasing him home. Momentum Lucky goes well fresh and has raced nicely down the straight 1,000. He'll add a bit of value. And Country Melody, we just heard there from Brett Prebble. But I see it as a Quinella 3 and 13. I'm just happy to take that Quinella.
I'm the same with Paul. I think, actually, as I said, when we looked at the speed map, those 2 potentially will be the 2 that are leading the race, and they will just sort of jostle alongside each other rather than jostle for that outside rail. I've gone with Premier to beat Adventurer, but it could go the other way. Momentum Lucky, like Paul, I think will be closing in for 3rd. And the 2 horses to close off, probably primarily My Little Friend and Archipus, and maybe to an extent Country Melody. But I put in My Little Friend for 4. So 13, 3, 7, 2. I'm suggesting play the 3 and 13 Quinella as well.